First of all, I would like to thank you all for joining us. I am requested to talk about Cambodian-China Free Trade Agreement. But yes, please accept my apologies that I will provide more content of Cambodian-China economic and diplomatic cooperation. Okay, the contents that I will cover from my presentation are the Cambodian-China diplomatic relation, economic background of Cambodian FTA, and the importance of Cambodian-China FTA and the impacts of FTA. Cambodia and China have developed a strong political relation, and Cambodia and China have been known as the solid ironclad friendship has started in the 13th century, and the diplomatic relation between the two countries were officially established in 1958. So it's in the origin. There are the regular high-level exchange between the two countries. And Cambodia also respect one China policy and non-interference. And in 2020, earlier of the COVID outbreak, the visit of Prime Minister Hun Sen during this is quite very important, and to showcase that Cambodians stand with Chinese people during this critical moment. And Chinese investment and official development assistance have contributed greatly to Cambodia development and the share of GDP. And also the Cambodia-China have strong military relationship, and we have trained and trial almost every year. Besides that, above 1,000 of scholarship for Cambodian students and academy to study in China. Cambodia-China Comprehensive Partnership of Cooperation signed since the 2006 and have been upgraded for the strategic partner in 2010, and later on is called the Action Plan 2019, and then to 2013 on building Cambodian-China community of shared future, and this was signed in 2019. So for the action plan that have been mentioned is have 5 domains. It's politics, security, economic, people-to-people relation, and multilateral cooperation. And Cambodia have fully and actively engaged with this action plan. And I think by 2017, Cambodia had received approximately 4.2 billion US dollar in an official development assistance from China, and we call ODA, right? For this, ODA has targeted physical infrastructure, agriculture, health, and education. China is also the main source for Cambodian public external debt. And by the end of 2017, Cambodian public external debt was 9.6 billion US dollar, in which around 42% was owed to China. And China also pledged 600 million US dollar in grants to Cambodia from 2019 and 2021. So, Belt and Road Initiative. Yes, in fact, that is the economic development opportunity generated from the initial initiative or believes that it's very good, and tremendous. So as of December 2017, more than 200 kilometers of road and then 7 large bridges and a new container terminal at Phnom Penh autonomous port were constructed with the support from China. And the new international airport in Siem Reap, Darasako International Airport in Koh Kong Province, and an international airport in Gondar Province. So the total amount is nearly $1 billion in approved airport project. or developed in Cambodia. And besides that, for the BOIs, the Phnom Penh and Sihanouk Expressway project with the proposal expenditure is $2 billion and have been constructed by the state of China Communication Construction Company. And besides that, the Sihanouk Special Economic Zone plans to have 300 factories by 2020. And in addition, is also the energy sector is more than 7.5 billion US dollar in power plant and about 4 billion US dollar in coal power plant have been invested. And in related to the agriculture and in agro-industrial project, there are 30, but up to now, 21 are operation. Talking about foreign direct investment from China, I think it has been approved by the Council for Development of Cambodia in the period of 1994 and to 2019. The China FDI remained the largest. And the China account for 21.81% total of share, from the 94 to 2019. And the earlier year of the country opened up, excuse me, I'm just put like this. China FDI was the source of extensive investment in the field of infrastructure, energy, resource development, rubber, tourists. And in 2019, investment approved recorded 9.4 billion US, among which China invested to 2.75 billion US. And Chinese investment domain the textile and clothing industry. I think for the next slide, yeah. I want to share with you that there are top major projects that loaned by China. That those projects are related to construction, rehabilitation, and extension of road, national disaster management, multiple purpose dam development, rural grid extension, and construction of Mekong River Bridge. And you can see the number from numbers to 100 of million US dollar of each project. So for this, in addition, in 2020, during the COVID crisis and natural disaster in Cambodia, you can see this photo that October 12, Cambodia and China has signed bilateral free trade agreement, which allows the kingdoms to export some goods to China with a 0% tariff rate, and expect direct investment from China, when Cambodia and China plans to boost bilateral trades to 10 billion by 2023 after this ratification of FTA. Under the Cambodian-China Free Trade Agreement, Cambodian can export more than 10,000 items to China, which return could export over 8,000 items to Cambodia. In this FTA, we are not sure it is a new generation FTAs that include in the investment clause and conflict resettlement, or still the old FTA. You can see this photo that China is quite very big of how to say grant and donor partner that support Cambodia during the crisis. Up to now, Cambodia has become the most vaccinated in the world, and the government committed to vaccinate around 14 million people amounts 16 million total population by nearly the end of 2021. And in this September, Cambodia also began to vaccinate children aged from 6 to 12. Sorry. In what I want to say, in addition, sorry, okay, yep, for this, actually, Cambodia tries to vaccinate its own people in order to pull back the economic as normal during this crisis. However, during this September as well, the National Assembly issued notification the result of the meeting. It the same have been highlighted by Joseph that amongst our 8 agenda, there are 2. Is the draft law on the OSAP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, and Cambodian-China FTA have been voted around 90 voices at National Assembly. So I think it will be go on the process and ratify in quickly or approve quickly. I think that is not only under the Chinese investment, but through the other FTA with different countries, there are a lot of change and to our local law and the regulation that have been adjusted to attract foreign direct investment to ease its flow into a wide range of sectors in Cambodia. And in this year, our new draft law also indicates that it will be include 19 sectors for investment. So I think for those have been broadcast through the local news is the resource development for energy and extractive industrial, forestry, agriculture, land, water, manufacturing, transportation, infrastructure, which include the seaport, airport, right, highway. And beside that, for the service is finance, banking, hospital, education, water, and sanitation. And for tourists, real estate, property, and urban development, which include the luxury housing, subsidy or sport club, hotel, resort, transportation, shopping, mall, casino, and also include the communication technology, industrial zone, and special economic zone. And for that, Cambodia also provide a lot of incentive. So the investment incentive available to foreign investor include 100% foreign ownership of company and corporate tax holiday up to 9 years and duty-free import and capital good and etc. There are a lot of things which also the company can apply for land concession with the long term. And before, Cambodia also allowed for 90 years, but because of the controversial and demand from the local, and then it have been changed and list down only 50 years with the low rate. These land are planned to bomb crops such as rubber, cassava, banana, and which turn to process of food or industrial product. I also want to share with you that is the coastal area, and Cambodia have 3 coastal area is Kampot, Sihanouk, and Kokong. This one it have been changing the image and feature. So you can see this such a picture. So the coastal development project have been save local economy to different feature. And there are a lot of things have been asked development for whom. So in the beginning, I also mentioned about the Kandal province, airport have been approved. So for the local company who are corporate with the loan, it names OCIC, and they have been well known the conglomerate overseas Cambodia. However, even though there are a lot of planned project development, but the hundred of community people are come together to fight and then for their land right and also to demand for the proper solution. So this is also exists and happen in this year about this project. Besides that, this is the world-class airport that I also mentioned earlier about the development projects in Koskong, another coastal area. It did see you, so you can see the image. And besides that, we are also well known during this crisis, but Cambodia also able to export banana and with a good price. So talking about the banana in the Royal degree, also designed for the qualified investment project in agriculture and agro-industrial sector. So receives the incentive for zero tariffs on import agricultural material such as seed. So if you want to invest on the agriculture, so the import seed is zero tariffs, fertilizer, pesticide, and agricultural equipment. And also a plan for further incentive for investment in processing facility, such as rice mill for export and investment in the irrigation system. At the same time, the other promotion is streamlined procedures to promote rice export, promote farmer organization by setting up cooperative, which includes seed fertilizer, agriculture extension, market priority, period of the tax is the same that I mentioned is 3 years, and then it can be maximized only 9 years for the incentive. You can also aware that the investment project, however, have been linked to land grabbing and the average of local community, like the photo that I show you. And land grabbing and land conflict have been identified as crucial and chronic issue in Cambodia. Also to ensure the secure business climate for the large investor. Investors are not held legally accountable for any environmental damage or for worker welfare in case of their bankruptcy. I think this happened is just not only Cambodia, but in the country in Asia.
Kunti, can you wrap up, please?
Yep, that is also the other one example recently. From last month, you can see the photo. From local post in Thailand also mentioned that the Thai Longan grower are asking for help from their government after China has temporarily suspended. It was interesting when Cambodia Longan grower or producer from from the three provinces like Pailan, Battambang, and Banteay Meanchey, they also rise up, and because they depend on the Thai market. However, as the result, the farmer who are impacted from this market. However, in that period, there are some critics on the between neighboring trade collaboration, but the situation remained normal after a few weeks later. However, we can see the government of Cambodia ordered urgently to purchase fruit from smaller growers over 100 of hectares, and also invites the tycoon and rich people to engage in charity and order this such of fruit production. Local people happy and welcome with this intervention, but request for long-term policy response. So I'm just have very little more is the impact of development. So for this, you can see that the land loss, people are land loss is associated with the deforestation, destruction, ecosystem, habitat for wildlife, but weather, loss of non-timber forest product, environmental degradation caused by can be a corporation, company, operator, privileged people, and also local people due to their poverty. And some people are not sure that they are benefit from this development project or agenda. Instead, what we can see is that they lost land, crops, tree, forest, water, ecosystem, housing, and do not receive adequate compensate for their loss. And even though they are trying to demand and fight back, but the protesters have been threatened, intimidated, and arrested. and other negatively impact people have little or no access to justice or reparation, where the investment profit and immunity of large investors are protected by law or informal arrangement and relation. For the key concern, that is my last slide, when, from the experience engaged with the investment, when you rely on the foreign investment, this raises question about sustainability of the domestic economy, as well as the impact of foreign investment on Cambodia economy during this COVID crisis. And also declining national tax revenue. Investment receive excessive tax exemption. So when the country are declining the national tax, so how can the government supports to the human development, human resource in Cambodia? Besides that, other concern is provide investor with the option for choosing a litigation mechanism, and long-term coping, increased stress, the family safety concern, and also add burden to existing issues such as climate change, physiological problem, and family crisis. And the last is it make the people lose faith in the justice system and those who are in power. So this is my last point, and then I hand it to moderator, and thank you.
Thank you, Kunti.